What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 99 of Behind the Toolbelt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer. TC Backer. TC Backer.
All right, so that was a quick intro.
Yeah, it was.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 99. I'm glad to have everyone here with us. We have the fine gentlemen, Chris and Joe from LeadScout. They're stationed up in Michigan, correct? That's where you guys are from, Michigan. So we got them zooming in here to talk a little bit about what LeadScout does. We're going to talk a little bit about the 21 Turkey Salute at the end of the show today, so make sure you guys stick around for that. This is episode 99.
Whoa, 99.
99 hours of live content.
Yes.
Actually, more than that, because we tend to go over a little bit sometimes, but man, has it been fun.
And we've done this a lot. So it started a couple years ago. We were trying to promote like a fundraiser that we were promoting at that time, and we didn't really know how to really get the word out on the street. Like, hey, we're building these gazebos. We're trying to auction them off and raise money for Workforce Now and some sort of dog rescue.
Barkitecture.
Yeah, barkitecture. Okay, so barkitecture, and then not Life Path Ministries.
Harvest Transitional Living Program.
Yes, Harvest Transitional Living, which is a phenomenal facility where they take care of displaced children and things like that, and they get them educated and teach them, just life skills and stuff like that. So that was real big. So at the entire time at the home show, we went live like 4 or 5 times a day, and we were attracting more people to our live shows than were actually coming in the doors of the home show. So we were like, dude, this is pretty cool. Maybe we should do this more often, and we did, and that's kind of where this all happened and all started, and here we are today, 99 plus episodes into it now, and you guys are our lucky contestants of the 99th episode. So I'm glad you guys could make it. We appreciate you carving out time to fit us in like you guys did. So tell us a little bit about, let's start with Chris. Tell us a little bit about your background and fast forward the whole way to today. So give us the scoop, man. What's up?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having Joe and I on. We're excited to be here. Kind of wish you would have waited maybe one more episode, but that's okay.
Right.
That's all good.
They've got a big 100th episode planned. I want to hear more about that too.
Well, you can tune in. I'm thinking next week somewhere between after 1, about probably like 3 o'clock-ish. We'll be going live from there. But I'm sure we'll be doing a bunch of live stuff all day long. So tune in next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
we will.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here with you guys and be a part of the community that you guys are building. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
So background on Chris Hofstra. 37 years old. I had college education. Got into logistics. Actually, I was in supply chain logistics, particularly in freight on trucks. And so my background is I was a trucker. On the sales side. I wasn't ever driving a truck. I don't know if I would have been able to see over the steering wheel. I'm about 5'8", so couldn't really see myself driving a big rig. But I did that for about 10 years, and enjoyed it, thought I'd never get out of it. It's kind of like any trade or business. Like, you know, you guys, like, you'll never get out of home improvement. You love it. It's your
Right.
For
it's
sure.
your blood, right? I felt that way about transportation. But as we'll probably talk about a little bit later in the episode, I had kind of moved my way through a couple businesses, corporate America, then worked for a small company, all doing freight. And really, I always had a desire to go out on my own. I had that entrepreneurial itch that I really wanted to scratch. So back in 2000, into 2016, beginning of 17, I went out for it. Went after it. I had a partner. We had a brokerage. We didn't own any trucks. We were doing all brokerage, and the business evolved. And man, I could share tons of stories about being in a partnership, 50-50 partnership, and you know, starting a business from scratch. Now, granted, you know, you never really start a business from scratch. You always got a mule, right? And so we had a mule, and that allowed us to really build a business. And 2 years later, the business had kind of changed and moved. And so I actually was bought out by my partner and was looking for the next adventure. I thought for sure I'd get right back into it. And I met this guy, Joe Salowitz, over here. And he had this incredible napkin sketch of LeadScout. And I actually, believe it or not, had background in the trades. I was a painter through college. That's how I paid myself through college. So I understood home improvement. I understood that world, new to roofing and exterior remodeling, you know, from a construction standpoint. But, you know, I loved it, and I had a connection to it, and I really loved what LeadScout was kind of about, and the technology that was being developed and brought to the contractors, which we'll talk about probably a little bit later. So I thought, well, I just sold my business. It wasn't like a windfall by any means, but it was an opportunity for me to take another risk. And a risk it was, and I'll never look back. I mean, it was an incredible start to a really great partnership with Joe and a growing team, and we're just super excited to, you know, take everything I learned over. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in freight or whatever your trade is, but applying it to this business, and at the end of the day, just helping the people you work for and taking care of them. So yeah, so that's a little bit of high level about me.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's very interesting. So
Yeah. Napkin stories,
Yeah,
man.
right. That's
some of the greatest things in this world, I think, started on napkins.
I would be curious
You know
to
what I
see
mean?
what that
Or a
napkin looks
coaster.
like.
A coaster at a
Right.
bar or something
Right.
like that. You know what I mean? You know, I've heard stories of Ty talking about, you know, how he would have contracts and stuff that would, you know, formulate starting on napkins and
Yeah,
stuff. And
beer coasters.
Yeah, beer
man.
coasters, and
I can
that's
relate.
dude, that's right in the trades.
It is.
That's literally like that's the trades, 100%, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The amount of businesses we've all probably started and never built, but still exist on a napkin somewhere.
Absolutely, man. I develop a new business every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can relate to that.
We should
man.
start a business where we laminate napkins so we never lose them.
There you
Right.
go. There
Where do you
go.
buy
There
stocks
you
on napkins? That's my question.
Hey,
Right.
hey, that's a good thought.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, for sure. So, Joe, give us your background, bro. Man, I'm very curious because you're like the man of mystery over there.
The man of mystery.
Yeah, because I always speak with Chris, you know, because we
Sure.
work together. We use LeadScout, and it's an awesome tool. And so, but you're like the, I don't know. So let me ask this question quick. Okay, so there's always a visionary, and then there's an integrator. So which is which here? Who's the visionary, and who's the integrator here?
Oh man. I'd say that the vision is a combined effort. So that archetype is a little bit misleading for us because the visionary is a little bit spread out, and not even just Chris and I can take credit for that. I mean, we've leaned heavily on other folks in the home improvement industry for LeadScout. I certainly cannot take any credit for it. To this day, I still don't completely understand roofers and home improvement contractors because I'm the tech guy. I come from the background of technology and just the creative world. which feels that that's my home, but that's so foreign to a lot of people in the home improvement space. But my background is just that. I've the last 10 years or so, I've been in the consulting world before LeadScout, specifically technology consulting. So depending on your grade of understanding of technology, I usually start with, if somebody asks me what I do, I say I design apps. Then if they express more interest, I'll say, okay, well, actually I help, businesses understand how technology can fit with them, and help businesses unravel this complexity that is tech in this day and age. And then from there, I'll go deeper, right? So before I got involved with LeadScout, I was really involved with just helping organizations in an agency kind of setting understand how to integrate their business processes and launch products, launch apps, launch websites. And I worked with, you name it. I mean, I worked with Scholastic launches, kids books. I worked with Oracle, the global, internet and infrastructure provider, Wyndham Worldwide Hotels, all the way down to small companies, local companies, nonprofits. So I've kind of seen the gamut of it when it comes to tech, and I've been here in this space since before the iPhone was launched, right? Working in the space, so I've seen the growth of mobile. I've seen the growth of apps, and kind of have my finger on the pulse. And I've had, like I said, I've launched a ton of napkin sketches, lots of businesses on napkins along the way. But really the one that came when I first started to talk to Chris about it and started to talk to friends about it, this idea of helping home improvement with lead generation, that has manifested in LeadScout via marketing and some of the other creative tactics that we use. Like, this was the one thing where I thought, this is a good idea. We have some really good people that know their things, know their lane, and this could work. But because before that, all my napkin sketches, maybe they were good ideas, but I didn't have the people to launch them. And that's so critical for any sort of business.
Absolutely.
Because I alone cannot do that, obviously. So Chris, to answer your question more directly, the visionary, sure, maybe I'm more of the visionary on the product side. Chris is 100% front lines. He's dealing with people day to day, but I'm also intimately involved in operations as well, but more so behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, and I can understand why that would be such a difficult question to answer, because in a partnership like that is, I mean, both of you probably play both of those roles.
Yeah, and the question almost makes it seem like which one of you guys comes up with ideas and which one of you guys works. You know what I mean? Like that's almost how the question leads off to be. You know what I mean? Like I have the ideas, now you make it happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I can definitely respect, a little bit on both ends there, and I think that's important.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think it's important for both both parties to, number one, have a say in hey, I think this is a great idea. Both parties being open to each other's ideas, and you guys both have skin in the game. So
yes.
Obviously both want to make it happen just as much. So that's a good answer.
Well, the cool thing about it is, like, Joe and I mean, Joe said it, and if you had asked me the question, I would have probably answered it the same way. Neither of us can really take credit for the original idea. What we did is riffed off of the original idea. So, it was, I think, our ability to, kind of work together to kind of formulate something from the original idea, and that original idea is just more targeted mail, and giving contractors the ability to have visibility into their neighborhoods and make sure their marketing is more profound and more targeted. So I don't.
We lost lost Joe. Here he comes.
There he is. Hey, Joe.
There he is.
Oh,
I'm
wasn't
sorry
sure
about
if
that,
was.
guys.
Nice of you to join
My
us.
sure
internet
that was-
just dropped right out. I have not lost internet in months, and tonight was the night.
Of course.
Dude, that's how
Of
it
courch.
happens, man.
Listen, yes.
Yeah,
If
that's how-
anyone
To the tech
ever,
guy.
but if
It couldn't
anyone,
handle the heat of this conversation.
Right.
You are just bringing it.
yes,
My internet couldn't keep up.
right on. So you were talking about, your clients and stuff. So, okay? So my question is, So is it geared more towards, guys that, like, say a storm hits down south someplace? Is it geared more towards, like, and I don't even want to
Actually, you know what? That's before you do that. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
Let's put it out there for the viewers, because I'm sure there's a lot of people right now that are watching that don't even know what LeadScout is. You know what I mean? So let's, in a couple sentences here, what would you guys consider? What would you describe LeadScout? If I'm walking by you in a booth, and you guys are in a booth right now, I'm a contractor. What are you going to tell me why do I need LeadScout?
Yeah.
Great
Chris,
question.
take it off the
Yeah,
top.
I'd probably So I'd ask you 2 questions, Chris. I'd say, when you see a home that needs your service, are you writing that address down?
Mm-hmm.
Chances are, I'd say, yeah.
Right.
If you're walking through a neighborhood, driving through. And the next question I'd say is, when you market your company through print media, through mail, are you just mailing to a zip code or an entire area? Chances are, I'd say, yeah.
Right.
LeadScout solves both those problems. So no more writing stuff down. You open up your phone, you literally tap the rooftop, drop a pin on the house, and from that same app, you can send a targeted mail piece to that home, and that home only. So if we walk into a development and there's 300 homes, 30 of them need a roof, we're only mailing to 30 homes. So,
Gotcha.
And we're targeting those 30 homes, and we can even do it down to like the symptom, right? Like, why do they need a new roof? Is it because it's a discontinued shingle and it's a storm, to your point, Ty?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it granule loss, right? Where it's just an old roof and it's, you can wait, but it might start leaking and you got bigger problems. So we wanted to be able to give the contractor, the roofer, because we launched this product specifically for roofing to start, the ability to say, I see a house, I know it needs my service, I don't want to write it down, I don't have time, I've got a mobile device, and I want my marketing to be targeted.
Yeah.
Right on.
There's a whole ecosystem of apps right now that people are probably starting to become really familiar with. One of the big headliners, Company Cam, great for project work. You have the CRMs that are really making a mark out there, Job Progress or et cetera, right? And so the space that we fit into is on the front side of that. So prospecting, lead generation, marketing, and there's a really nice sweet spot of just automation and good tech on the front side of your customer generation efforts. That's exactly where we want to be and exactly what we're building into in the next year.
Right on.
Perfect.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Ty, I didn't mean to cut you off there,
okay.
but I was like, man, that's a really good question, but I'm afraid if they answer that question now,
Right.
people aren't really going to be able to put 2 and 2 together. 'Cause
No,
afraid
and
that-
I'm
that
assuming
someone-
already
Right.
that
we talk LeadScout all the time,
Right.
and like the lead generation and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, these are the
Yes.
first times that we've ever had anyone on
you're
on
right.
this kind of
Absolutely.
platform
No, it's
on.
great. That's great. So hopefully everybody understands now what LeadScout does. But I guess where I was going was, so I'm trying to think if I wanted to scale out into a different market down south someplace, would I call LeadScout and say, hey, look, guys, I really want to, I know a storm just hit here. Would you guys be the guys that I'd need to talk to about that to help us market ourselves?
Go ahead, Joe, you take this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about some kind of exciting stuff we have in the pipeline right now.
Okay.
So you can do that today,
Mhm.
and there's some great ways that you can do that using our iOS app that we have available. You can download it right now and start literally just tapping on the map and sending mail to those areas.
Nice.
But we have some exciting stuff in the pipeline. So one of the things we're going to be launching in the next year is just that focus around storms, right?
Mhm.
You pick your locale, you pick where you want the focus, and based on that information, you can start blasting out mail as soon as a storm hits, okay? Because that data is pretty readily available. So the real trick is getting that data and making something of it,
Okay.
and generating a marketing campaign around it, right? And so that's what we're really leaning into, is this idea of let's make the data available to people in these nice home improvement style buckets or packages, if you will, things that are designed for home improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you really have to do is click to start it, and it goes.
That's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. That'll be really awesome for some of our big players down in Texas,
Yeah.
Oklahoma. In those areas, the Storm Alley where you don't really get roofs over 3 years old down there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had a couple guys from the south on our show the last couple weeks. That sounds like something that'd be right down their alley. unfortunately up here we don't get a whole lot of crazy storms. I don't know about you guys in Michigan. How are your storms
Well,
pretty
it's
intense?
interesting. We've had we've been a big hit in the roofing community. I mean, we're a home improvement software service, right? So if you service pools, you can download it. I mean, heck, we've even had churches use it for canvassing their neighborhoods when they're doing a church plant or something, right? So the breadth is there. But we've seen a lot of traction in the roofing space. And when we look at the type of users that we have, it correlates really heavily with the storm alleys in the United States. We see two trends, really. We see storm alleys and we see solar now, right? So solar is a burgeoning thing, so we see a lot more activity out west. But the storm alleys, I mean, we see a ton of action in Texas, north of Texas. We see a lot of hurricane action in Florida, along the eastern seaboard, even up towards y'all. And in Michigan, too, we get our fair share of interesting weather up here. So we certainly see a lot of activity in Michigan, too.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, I like how versatile. So when you guys said about how, even churches use it, if you think about it, man, there's so many different ways and so many different business spaces that you guys could be in. People could
We
really
thought
get
about
creative,
politics,
man.
but then quickly said, no, we don't want to touch that.
Yeah, so you could really get creative with how you used your app. If someone just really needed to keep track of, maybe current customers, prospective customers in anything really.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
right.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
The one thing that I enjoy about the app is that there's different color pins. So what I try to explain to Lauren and a couple other people, so use green if they need gutters. Use the red pin if they need a roof, or white for windows, or you can be real strategic with it, like you guys were explaining earlier, where you can really nail down, what it is that their issue is, and not just do what I call the fishnet approach, where you're just blasting multiple neighborhoods and you don't even know if they need a roof or not. So you're being thrifty with how you're spending your money and being more precise and accurate, and really trying to let the homeowner know, hey, we noticed that your roof was the shingles are no longer made, or that we noticed that your gutters were falling off, or whatever the case might be. That's what
It makes it a lot more personalized.
It is.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And then go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, and you mentioned the breadth of it is massive, and frankly, and many other business owners can probably relate to this. The breadth is sometimes your Achilles heel, and if we're talking real talk here when it comes to business ownership, knowing where to focus is the hardest thing. 100%. Just there's so much opportunity. There's so many things we could do. Where do you focus?
Yeah.
And that's really where we've spent a lot of effort, especially in the last year. Looking back over COVID and trying to figure out how do you make your way in this new world that we have these days. How do we reposition? How do we position ourselves in a way that makes sense for home improvement? So we have stuck very narrow, right? We're focusing on home improvement, not politics. We're focusing on roofing primarily still, and we'll continue for a while. And that's really the conversation where we're spending all of our time as we look towards 2022. We're designing these really intimate home improvement style marketing packages that are just they're easy to understand, and they're easy to launch. We're actually getting into the space where we're automating the launch of marketing, so you don't really even have to think about marketing anymore. It just kind of goes in the background, which is really exciting. And the other key too is measuring your marketing. I mean, just knowing where your brand is being exposed. It's good to know your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're putting all of our weight into that as we move forward.
Yeah, Joe, I'm glad you mentioned, the challenge, because I'm sure for those listening, that have had that challenge as well, it's like, man, you just want to say yes. You just want to help people, and whatever, I can do that, sure. I mean, even for you guys in home improvement, it's like, yeah, we could, we'll put some exterior can lights on your soffits, sure. Is it what we do? Not every day, but I'd love to help you because it would make your roof and siding looks sweet.
Right.
Right.
So I think what you were getting at, and I want to make a pretty big point of this. Not only do we have this challenge of staying focused, but we also have this challenge of not falling into what's a shiny object, right? Selling something and bringing something to the marketplace that everybody's like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Like, I'm going to go crazy with that. Making a delineation between what sells in concept and what like performs in reality. Because at the end of the day, for you guys in home improvement, you want a roof that lasts, right? You want quality products, because that's what gives you guys long-term sustainability and gives you guys the reputation that you have, where hopefully you don't have to do a lot of marketing, because people just fall in love with who you are and how you do work.
Right.
For us in marketing, and I've heard some of your other shows with marketing folks, it's easy to get a bad rep. So, for us with LeadScout and focusing on the technology aspect of marketing, how can we put a product out there that isn't just really flashy and sexy, but gets the job done?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what Joe's kind of talking about with like measurement and automation and simplifying things. So we're really shifting like how I described LeadScout to answer your question, Chris, because I wanted to give you a really concise answer if you're walking down, the booth. Right. Plus, I do want a little flash, because I want you to stop and talk with me for a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I care about your business and you guys getting more leads than you got before you started talking with me.
Yeah. I
Right?
love how you
How do
put
I
that,
do
man.
that?
I love how you put that, because especially in, the home improvement space, whether you're roofing, siding, windows, landscaping, any of those, like anything that has to do with the home improvement, and I may even be able to expand on that even farther, but how many times do we see man, that looks really good on paper, but can we apply it in the field?
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of times, man, so I run into this a lot in the building aspect. You'll have architects and that kind of stuff that'll put something on paper. It looks great on a piece of paper, but then when you actually go out and try to build it, it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Like that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a really great analogy, man. And like a lot of times people really do, especially in the world of social media, man, they get so wrapped up in visually, what does that look like? It looks great. It looks like it's going to be great. Oh my God, so-and-so uses this. It's great. It has to be good. Yeah. And they don't even really care so much if it actually works until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys about my first business that I started. So this goes way back. I must have been 4 years old. So entrepreneur at heart, right?
Oh my.
First business. One thing I didn't tell you in my introduction is I actually grew up overseas. I grew up in the country of Tanzania in East Africa, in a remote village. So everything you're probably picturing right now is probably pretty close to accurate as far as the type of setting I grew up in. People would walk for miles to get their water, that type of thing. Okay. My first business idea, my parents had Kool-Aid, powder Kool-Aid, right? You guys remember those powder Kool-Aid packets? Maybe they still make them. I don't know. Cherry, the limeade, all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. I thought, we got a whole drawer full of these things. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to, put it out front, in these little cups, whatever. And I'm going to have some powder packets too. I'm going to take some of the packets and put them out there. And I'm going to sell it to these people that are walking through our front yard, walking to go get water for miles, right? And so I did that. I tried that. So a couple flaws in that business model. First, I didn't have any sales. First of all, I think my parents came and bought some. Didn't have any sales. So first flaw in that is I was probably just charging too much. Generally in the third world country, people don't have money to waste on Kool-Aid.
Right.
Second of all, I'm trying to sell powder to people who don't have water, right?
Right.
So it terrible business idea. But the storyline here, and the reason I think of this is I'm thinking the application was totally off. Maybe there's a better setting for that, but you got to understand who you're shooting for, in your target market. You got to understand what they're asking for. And I think about that a lot. I think about that first business a lot when we're trying to design the next best thing for our business and understanding, how to deliver something that's actually of value to people that they're actually going to enjoy. And that's how I form up my product decisions as we're building this product is forming it up with understanding what people are actually going to enjoy. Right?
Exactly.
What they're actually going to use.
And that's the thing we try to promote too, is like, what value are we bringing? You know, and that could be a whole nother episode, but of value and things like that, and you know, but that to have that creativity back then, you know, you were a born leader, you know, and to think about the flaws that maybe, you know, why did this not take off the way that it should, you know, that says a lot about the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
You know, so that's good stuff there.
Yeah, that's really
I
awesome.
certainly know how to fail.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's never a failure,
No.
is there?
There's a failure if, you know, you don't get the results that you want and you quit.
Right.
It's true.
That is a failure. But as long as you learn and you keep going and you know, maybe don't make the same mistake twice, that's not a failure.
Exactly.
You know, it's a learning experience.
Yes. Yes. Yep. That's one of our big mottos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But nah, dude, that's really cool. That's a really cool analogy.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that, you know, you had your first business in a third world country at 4 years old selling Kool-Aid, man. Like that's
first
definitely a
napkin
first.
Right,
Yeah, man. Your
right.
first napkin business. That's awesome, man.
It is. I'd like to see that napkin, by the way.
Right.
Also.
It was
that
probably sketched in the dirt in front of our house.
Right. Or carved it into the side of a tree or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did a lot of that.
Some bark.
Yeah.
Now I know we have limited time tonight, but I'm very curious about this turkey salute.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Chris and I were thinking about getting 22 turkeys today and trying to one up you, but we don't really know how to do that, and I feel like it would have ended.
You'd
in
have to get
disaster.
23.
Yeah.
We'd have to get 23.
And,
Why
and
is
23
that?
pots and 23 burners.
But why is it the 21 turkey salute?
Well, because it started out 20.
It started out last year. 21 was the record last year.
Yeah.
We broke that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this year we're doing 22 at one time. Next year will be 23. You know, last year we looked it up. We decided that we were going to do this. It actually happened on the show. We were talking about, you know, what's something we could do. We're like, oh, well, let's feed Thanksgiving to a bunch of people. I wonder what the Guinness Book of World Records is for the number of turkeys deep fried at once. And it turned out to be 20. So we're like, we're doing 21.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's what we're gonna do. We wanted to do like 40 or something like that. But we're like, well, wait a minute. Then we're gonna have to do 41 next year. So let's start low. That way we only have to beat it by one every year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hopefully someone's not out there like, I'll show these guys. I'm gonna do 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hopefully they just let us have that.
That's all right. You'll do 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will too.
We would.
For sure. So we went and we bought 20 burners, 20 pots, 23-gallon things of oil, and we were like, okay, let's do this. So my fear is that, okay, so we're gonna have 21 people standing around that probably have never deep fried turkeys before. So how are we gonna do like a little crash course real quick? So we came up with the bright idea that we'll just do one real quick, you know, and just show everybody like, you can't just drop this thing in the oil, okay?
Yeah.
As we got fire extinguishers, you know, at within arm's reach of everywhere, and it's like, did anybody call the fire department and even let them know that we were doing this today? Because literally we had a bomb, like 21 propane tanks with flames shooting out of it. You know, it was great though. So we did the crash course test. Everybody was, you know, really in tune with it. So we had a crowd. We actually have a video of this. So then we got everybody ready. We had their turkeys on the spit, and they got the hook, and they're holding it high. And so I'm counting down 1, 2, 3, and everybody just slowly lowers their turkey into the pots as it's being recorded, because we had to record it, and there's so many things that we had to do. That way it was properly documented, so we could submit it into the
Whatever the
Guinness.
American version is. It's the Guinness Book of World Records is a Europe thing.
Yes.
It's the Bush Light World Record.
Yeah, it's something. It's something.
Right.
The JV Book of World Records or something like that. I don't know, but it's like the American version. I don't know what the European record is, but the American one was.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a Guinness Book.
Was it Guinness?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
the
right.
Guinness
Yeah, I
Book.
wasn't involved in that part, but yeah, that's kind of how it happened, and it turned out to be such a success. Even though like we really didn't know what we were doing.
No.
We were just a bunch of roofers that got together and decided to feed the community, and
we know how to deep fry shit.
dude, and
So we were
killed
like,
it, man.
screw it, man. Let's deep fry 21 turkeys. And well, honestly, this is the God's honest truth. There was so much negativity. It felt like last year, Pennsylvania was closed down. I think it just opened back up. Okay, we didn't ask the city like, hey, we need to block this, close the street down, and we didn't do anything. We just did it. So we actually were like, okay, we're going to do this. So we reached out to a couple different facilities, and they were like, no way, we can't have a crowd of people here. Because back then we still had the restrictions and all
Everyone
the
thought you were
craziness.
going to die if you didn't have a mask on around each other.
Yeah, we
and,
were
like,
still
it was so
kind of in
crazy.
that midst of, like, I think we're all going to die. But so we reached out to this pastor, Pastor Joel, and I don't even know how we got his number. So we talked to him and we're like, hey, this is what we want to do. And he was like, absolutely. That sounds great. Let's do this. So he was all like, of all people, I would have thought he would have been the one, a man of God would have been the one like, no, we can't have a group of people over 30 people or whatever it was, man.
Yeah.
So we did it. We went down there and we got the first batch of turkeys completed. Like he saw that, oh my God, this thing's going to be a success. So about an hour into it, he walks over to me and he says, you guys are doing this again next year, right? And I was like, God damn right we are. God damn right we are. And it was great, man. 300 plus people came down. We ran out of food, which was the bummer of it.
Yes. It was a great feeling, but a bad feeling at the same time. Because it's like, dude, we ran out of food. That means we fed a lot of people because we had a lot of freaking food here.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, it's like, man, like it's 4 o'clock. People are still walking up, and we don't have any food to give them. Like that's a shitty feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know how far that person walks. So we're like, that's not happening again this year.
No.
You
So
know,
we're
doing
getting 60 turkeys.
60 turkeys this year.
We plan on feeding 600 people.
No way.
But
Awesome.
the mayor showed up last year. He walked me down to the end of the street. I had an equipter parked on the corner of the street, down at the end of the street, so everybody would kind of see it. And we had a banner made that was pasted to the side of it, 21 Turkey Salute. Come join us. So he walks me down the street, and as we're walking down the street, because he didn't like where it was parked, not that he didn't say we couldn't park it there, but there was a handicap portion on the curb, and it was kind of in the way of that, and he was like, you got to have it 10 feet back away from that. I was like, no problem. So anyhow, as we were walking down the street, he's like, why didn't you ask us to close the street down? And I said, I'll be honest with you. I said, we were prepared to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. And he started laughing. He's like, dude, you should have called us. This is great. Then the city police commissioner came down, and he was rocking one of our sweatshirts there for a while. I saw him because he goes...
Yeah, he'll go live randomly on his Facebook, and like a couple weeks after that, man, he did a live video at nighttime. He actually had a Santa Claus hat on. Remember that? He was riding around delivering toys with a TC Backer sweatshirt on. So it's
that's awesome.
It's cool, man. It's definitely cool. The team loves it. Which shout out to our team, because none of that would have been possible. All the we's and everything definitely includes every single member of TC Backer and the family. That have grown to be part of the TC Backer family.
Absolutely, like you were saying earlier, Joe. It's definitely the team that pulls this off, and that's kind of where I get into the the visionary and the integrators. Like, and this is like, we all come up with visions here. I mean, everybody's opinion matters here, okay? But it's kind of like, I'll think of some random stuff, and what's crazy is like Vic and Chris are the first ones that have my back. You know what I mean? Because they're the first ones I'm bouncing the ideas off of, and they're like, okay, let's do it. Like when we decided to go with JP, Chris dived into that thing head first. And at that time it was pretty crazy because there was a system that we had set up, and it worked, but it wasn't scalable.
Yeah.
Okay. So like 2 years ago, he started to do that.
Yeah, 2 years ago I did that, took us from the paper, and like the crazy thing about that is, man, when we finally got that thing worked, it's like we're going to jump ship, and like so much time and energy was invested into getting this thing up and running, and it was like, man, like, yeah, there is some things that we could tweak, but we figured out how to make this work. But looking at this other program, it's like, man, this has some features that would really be nice if we could figure this out. So it was like almost like wiping the slate clean. But right when it was kind of perfect, man, because I worked on that for I don't know maybe 6 months or something like that.
Good 6 months
every day, just working on that. And then right when I was really starting to get burned out, dealing with it every day, going through the I can't get a hold of someone right this second. I'm not bashing JP or anything because they're busy. You know, sometimes our guys are on site down in Dallas, you know, with other companies working. They can't always answer their phone 100% of the time. And there's sometimes, man, like I need an answer right now. So there, you know, after, you know, going through the trial and error, trying to teach myself how to use this thing, you know, after our trial runs have been done and everything, it's like I started to get burned out. And like right when that happened, man, we started bringing some more people on the team, you know, some fresh eyes, and they just kind of, you know, it's kind of like the relay race. You know, I was pooped and I was ready to pass the torch on, and they just took off with it. So it was really nice, and that kind of really cemented everything and got us to where we are right now. Because, you know, it seemed like I've freaking worked on that thing for 6 straight months, and I was so burned out, and it's like I blinked and it was like they went another mile with it, and it was like, man, this is, now I'm going to you guys and asking you questions, and I'm the one that started this whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, you started the jelly jar, right? And they just you know, they popped it up.
Man, they perfected it. You know what I mean? They got they came in right in time, man, and everyone's on board now. Everyone thinks it's a great idea because I'll be honest, man, at first it was very few of us that thought it was a great idea. There was a lot of growing pains, and
for sure,
it's that if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of mentality.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know, we had a system that worked decently for us, but it didn't work for the entire company. You know what I mean? So
well, we do a lot of new construction, and it's geared more towards retail. So it was like between them trying to manipulate it and us trying to manipulate it to work for us. But now we're finding out it actually works better or easier with new construction than it does with retail. For whatever reason, there's a lot of features that we need it to do, and we don't understand why it doesn't do it again, or not again, but yes, again, some of it worked at the time, but now it's not working again. But everything's got glitches and bugs and stuff like that. But that was the biggest learning curve, was like, how are we going to get the new construction aspect of this into, you know, a program
that's geared for retail.
That's geared to retail,
and insurance work and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That's what it's geared.
Right, but now it seems like it. Maybe we focused, like hyper-focused on that because that was our biggest worry, because we assumed that like it's geared for retail, so we'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
You know, because at that time we were using GAF Project for our retail stuff like that, but now they can actually integrate, but we've stopped using GAF Project, went fully into JP. But it's been definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
But
the thing that I love the most about JP that I loved more than our previous program, and I'm not going to shout out what our previous program is, we do not bash people in the show. So
accept each other.
Yes. The JP seems to actually, I'll start with our old program. Our old program seemed to be like, okay, they came in and said, this is how you use our program. Figure out how to mold your business around it. Okay. JP came in and said, let me see how you run your business, and I'll figure out how to mold our fucking program around it. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? So, like, they weren't trying to come in and reinvent the wheel inside of our facility. They're like, how do you guys do business? You guys are successful doing business. Let me see how I can get my program to gear towards your business. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing, because with the other program, it's like, all right, this isn't going to work. Like, we have to change how we do this. We have to change how we do this. This isn't going to work. You know what I mean? And it's like you're almost having to reinvent your tactics and how you're doing daily operations.
Absolutely.
And it just is a nightmare.
And that's just good software design. And we know David over at JP, and he's got just such a good pulse on the industry, and it's really hard to execute well in that way. You know, it's easy to say that's how you design software. It's really hard to implement software that way. And props to JP for all the good work they've done to build their tool out in a way that's super flexible. We love using it. Absolutely.
So speaking of which, is LeadScout compatible with JP?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
If someone...
And we hope to be only ever more compatible as time goes on. So like I said, we know David over at JP. We've had a lot of conversations about a really tight-knit integration with them. But right now we're pulling data in from JP on a lot of our accounts. People can sync their data from LeadScout into JP or any CRM for that matter. But we do see a lot of activity and job progress, especially when it comes to the roofing space.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we're an open. The platform is open data. I mean, you can download your data and you can really get it out wherever you need it to be.
Okay. So earlier you guys were talking about automation. So how does that work with JP?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this, and where we're starting with this is a really interesting approach that actually involves distribution Chris, I'm going to let you talk about this because this is super exciting, and this is our 2022, and it's in response. I guess let me tee it up and talk a little bit about some of the things that we're seeing in the industry, the trends and such. And we were just seeing this intense frustration around marketing, right, and the task of marketing within a lot of the contractors' businesses that we're working with, where it's like, to do it right, you really have to have an entire marketing department, right? So the bigger organizations, sure, like TC, you've got a good marketing wing, right? The smaller contractors struggle with that. A lot of times they're handling it themselves. And how do you even, you're quoting all day, you're doing your job all day long, you're going out, you're quoting stuff, visiting job sites, etc. And then at night time, you're going through your paperwork, you're maybe writing new quotes. Where does marketing fit into that? You need to be doing it. And so a lot of times people just get either overwhelmed with it, and oftentimes that leads to them doing it not at all or very poorly, whether it be mail marketing, Facebook marketing, digital marketing, phone calling, all the different types of marketing. It just gets overwhelming, and you just don't do a good job of it. What everybody knows to be true of marketing, though, is you need to do it regularly for it to work, and you need to have this constant drumbeat of brand exposure, or else people you're going to kind of fade into the oblivion.
Yeah, Joe, can I ask you a question real quick? Do you think that all the reasoning that you led up to with that, they're just busy throughout the day and they don't really have time? Do you think that that's why most contractors, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I feel like it is, most contractors use the fishnet method? They're just like, I don't know, I don't have time. I'm just going to throw everything at it and something will work.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of shotgun approach where it's like, I don't have time to be strategic about this, so I'm just gonna, buy a zip code, send mail to a zip code,
right?
Or do whatever the easiest thing is, right? So I'll let Chris get into some of the ways that we're trying to solve that, but then at the same time, there's the other part of this is that if you actually get the nerve and you're like, okay, today's the day, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna figure this out. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this Facebook campaign. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this mail campaign. Then you're like, what do I say?
Right.
Who do I talk to? I don't even know how to use Photoshop or whatever. I don't know how to use this design tool. It gets hard, especially if you don't have that marketing department to lean on, right? So it's like, what is the strategy I'm supposed to do? And then at the end of the day, you successfully, so you get through that. Maybe you're just really motivated. You get through that, you send out the mail, and then you realize, I can't even see, I don't even remember what addresses I sent it to, or I don't know when it got there, or I have no visibility into this, or no measurement. I don't know what the results are, and I certainly don't have time to go back and try to calculate those results and know where my brand is being exposed in my neighborhoods. So those are the three categories we're kind of trying to target with LeadScout as we move into the future, is trying to make it easy so that it's automated. You don't have to think about it a whole lot. Making sure that we have a couple strategies, just buffet style, a la carte strategies, where it's like, here's one for you that could work really well. And then of course there's measurement on the back end too, so you get some visibility into the results that you have. And that's all packaged up into what we do. I'm talking ambiguously here now. Chris, make this a reality for us. Tell us what this actually looks like in real life.
Yeah, thanks. That was a good tee up, though, Joe. So what I described to you guys earlier about stop writing down addresses, send mail to the homes that need to hear from you. That sounds great. That's the flashy thing, right?
Right.
Ty, I was able to get your attention. You're a busy guy. I'll never forget our first call, right? And you're like, Chris, this is brilliant, right? GAF. Actually, I'm rocking some GAF right now, just to kind of give some shout out.
There you go.
Those guys love us. We've talked to Tamco, and we've talked to, LP, and a lot of these companies have seen our product and like, man, this could really help our contractors. This is an amazing tool. But at the end of the day, you got to wake up in the morning and go out and scout, and you got to come up with the creative mailers, and you got to send them and know when to send them. I think what Joe was talking about with, you have to do it regularly, consistently. You have to make sure you're striking when the iron's hot. You can't paralysis of analysis, right? You got to just go every day, go. And there's a lot of what we built was very much a self-service tool. And a lot of contractors had tremendous success with it, tremendous success. So much so it was like almost like, do we even share this with other people? Because these guys just worked hard, right? I mean, you've got all kinds of, thinking about our servicemen and women, like Veterans Day recently, you've got all these people that work really hard to protect our country. And then you've got like Navy SEALs and, Delta Force. These guys, they just are a different breed, right? They're willing to not sleep for a week, or whatever Hell Week is, right? That's kind of the way I would describe LeadScout. I mean, you got to be willing to be that kind of breed. And if you are, you're going to see results, because why wouldn't you, right? Anybody listening to this right now, if you understand what we're saying, how our tool works, it works, but you got to put in the work. Most contractors don't have that infrastructure, don't have that time, because they're wearing so many hats. So as we think, how do we continue to evolve the technology and really bring value at a large scale to the marketplace, we have to think about simplifying the whole setup, the whole approach to a targeted marketing campaign. We have to think about automating that so it does happen regularly, so we don't have to constantly babysit it. And more importantly, as Joe talked about, I really want to get to it. We really want to get to a point where we never have to ask someone, so how did the campaign go, and ever hear them say, I don't know, or I feel like it performed well, or I feel like it didn't perform well. I ask that question to anybody, really that joins up or does a demo, that are doing marketing. Is that working for you? Yeah, we think it's working. How do you know it's working for you? Well, we typically ask the people that call in, and those tactics, you've talked about it with other marketing people on the show. They're very limited, so we have to figure out a way of creating these, using the platform of LeadScout to create these automated programs that have built-in tracking. Let's give the contractor the visibility. Let's set it up for them. Let's set them up for success, rather than say, here's a Peloton, get after it, buddy, right? Go get them, right? We want to actually build into that success. And so that's what we're really excited about for 2022, is having the system automate these specific campaigns. We talked about storms earlier. That's one of them.
Right.
We talk about you'll hear us talk about notes to neighbors. This is the big one that we're rolling a beta out on, where we're going to automate 20 handwritten notes to the neighbors around a job. When we say automate, how we're going to do that is we're actually going to give you guys the ability to initiate that when you place your PO with the distributor. So when you place a PO with the distributor, you got to add a box of nails, you got to have drip edge, starter strip, all your stuff. Well, why in the world wouldn't you add a notes to neighbors? I mean, if you're going to do a job at 2055 Charlotte Point, those people around that job better know who you are, right? That's why you're putting the sign in the yard. That's why you wrap your trucks, right? So why don't we automate that to where it just happens, right? You placed an order, bing, boom, it's done, right? And then even better, we're actually going to provide a dashboard that gives you visibility into who of those 20 homes, because it's not the exact, we have a nice little algorithm that has some intelligence behind who we're going towards, right? We don't want to mail to somebody that shouldn't be getting the mailer. But, give them that visibility on how many clicks on that QR code. And if they click the QR code, where are they going, right? Are they just going to your website that really has no correlation or continuity to what the mail piece was? Let's create that continuity of information so that it all kind of works in harmony of what that campaign's about, which is, look, I'm the local roofer. I'm doing a job on your street. I offer these services. I'd love to meet you. Schedule a consultation, right? Free estimate. Hey, shoot, we even give free solar estimates with every roof estimate, right?
There you go.
So these kind of things, be able to automate that. And then we can branch off into other campaigns like Rehash, right? Hatch does this so well. Shout out to Hatch from a text perspective. We should be doing that with mail. I mean, just ask any contractor, how many leads do you have this year that are unclosed? And that number could obviously range. How many of those folks have you sent a handwritten note to say, hey, life gets busy, and we know that there's a lot on your plate, and that project we quoted back in June, you're probably just got too busy. Before we close your file, we'd really like to move forward with that. Can we book you in the spring? Or actually, maybe we can still book you this fall. You send that to 100 people. I mean, how many people need to respond to pay for that campaign?
Right.
Like one.
Right.
Right. So helping these contractors automate these really influential, meaningful campaigns through the technology, I think, is what we're all about. We still want the influence of Paul, like who you had on the show a couple weeks ago. He's going to help you design, give kind of like some tips and tricks on how that should look. We're going to guide, right? And then our platform is going to help automate that, make sure it happens every single week, every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that, like, not one portion of the marketing is the end all to be all of marketing. Like, if we just put billboards up, that's just not going to generate the phone calls that we need. Like, there's other things that go into that, the yard signs, the billboards,
Right.
the LeadScout postcards that go out. Of course,
It's all the touch points, man.
yeah, all of the touch points. And I feel like this really adds to that touch point because, if you're in a neighborhood and you're already doing a job there, so you have 1 or 2 yard signs there. So then if you're hitting the neighbors in that neighborhood, right there's another touch point. So then if you do go across the street and knock on the door, hopefully that's the 3rd or 4th or 5th touch point of you going there. Even if they're not home, leave the door hanger. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I like about it. And I can agree to you guys being a Navy SEAL. This has worked for us. We recently got a call the other day. Now, when the gentleman first called in, I think he said that he just Google searched us. Okay. So after we received the call, Tom went out, gave the guy a quote. The gentleman calls back in and he says, "Hey, I have one of your postcards. You didn't give me my 15% off." So unfortunately, when he called in, he didn't say, "Hey," but I don't know when he could have received the postcard 2 days after he received the estimate, but it works. Do you know what I mean? Between the branding portion of it and the marketing portion of it. But to circle back to the automation, what I meant was like a set it and forget it type of thing with JP. Okay, so like if Tom sold that job to that gentleman who received the postcard, can we set it and forget it? And you guys kind of like, like if we do like, okay, like set it up where it's like, okay, we want you to do, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and 6 across the street. How do you have the capabilities of doing that? And how does that work?
What Chris just defined right now is what we're doing today. You can literally sign up for it today on our website, working via a distributor. So, and then all you have to do once you get through our onboarding is just add it to your PO, add it to your PO, add it to your PO, and it'll run. So that's today. What we're getting into at the beginning of this next year is CRM integration. And what that will look like is a similar process of, instead of adding something to your PO, what we're going to do is we're going to be pulling information from, let's just say it's job progress, right? We're going to be pulling information from job progress based on the criteria that you set. So you're going to say, for example, you'll say, anytime that I mark a job as sold in job progress, it moves through the sales pipeline from prospect to quoted, to pending, acceptance to job sold. When that happens, that event in the system will say, ding, hey, LeadScout, guess what? Job sold. It pops over to us, and that would trigger that Notes to Neighbors campaign that Chris just highlighted, right? And we will have some additional segmenting on that, so you don't have to worry about, everything going out. You can segment it more narrowly and set up various campaigns based on various criteria. But that's basically the situation. It's going to be automated every time that you're going through a process, and you can set up those automations around you're talking about flexibility around who you are as a business. You can set up those automations around who you are as a business. You can sleep at night knowing that you're getting exposure in the marketplace without having to do it every single time, having to lift that weight every time, because you just set up a robot to do that weightlifting for you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome, man. That entire thing sounds so awesome. It sounds so, next generation type thing. You know what I mean? It's.
We hope so.
It's hopefully it applies. You know what I mean? Because like you guys said, but I feel like you guys have the mindset and already kind of have that mentality of it can't just be shiny. You know what I mean? It has to make sense. So I have 100% faith that, you know, we're gonna be very successful with it. Any other contractors out there watching, make sure you guys reach out to these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. We've been, you know, to numerous conferences, home shows, all that kinds of stuff, and obviously there are other people in the space that do things like you guys, but they don't do exactly what you guys do. You know what I mean? So you guys have the ideas on not just the shiny. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of that stuff it's just shiny, but doesn't really work. You know what I mean? Like you guys said, you pointed out, you know, you guys are already trying to figure out how to automate, because you understand contractors are busy, man. We work dark to dark. A lot of times we don't have time for that stuff, and where this really benefits is, I don't want to say that it's not beneficial for big companies like us, but because it is, but you know, this could really, really benefit some of the smaller guys that really don't have a team. You know, they don't have time to go out and knock doors. They don't have time to, you know, hit marketing campaigns up and really understand what's going on behind it. Because, I mean, let's face it, dude, marketing's hard. Yeah. Marketing's hard. And if you don't have a deep pocket sometimes to pay people to figure that kind of stuff out, you know, a big company or a budget to allocate, you know, I'm going to do this much for marketing. It's kind of hard to really, number one, get results in that, get in that space, and, you know, get the data off the results to make sure you're not wasting your time and money. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man.
Well, and you might have a decent budget, but that's your hard-earned money.
Absolutely. And so why waste it?
And you're supposed to just throw it out there and just kind of hope.
Right.
So we're setting out to build a widget, Chris. I mean, we want to build a widget to where whatever that dollar amount is, that small contractor or big contractor okay, when I put this in, I know I get this out. Yeah. Right? Because I got to put this into a lot of different things. Yard signs aren't cheap. Truck wraps aren't cheap. You know, billboards aren't cheap. All this stuff, radio space, all this stuff, you know, so they've got a lot of different things that they have to put their marketing dollars in. Who is that? Is that Cole?
Yeah.
What's up, Cole?
Yes, we love it.
Say hi into the microphone, Cole. The funny thing is I locked my door, you know, to have this time be private. And somehow he still figured it out. 3-year-olds, I tell you what.
Good for him.
Yeah. Get him out on the street. Be on the street.
He's good at that, that's for sure.
That's right.
Give me a couple
He'll
more
get into every door. You'll have more signed contracts you know what to do with.
That's right.
Exactly.
But no, I think, you know, they've got, you know, you have a lot of different things that you need to put your marketing budget into as guys are thinking about 2022 budgets. And we really want to be a company, a technology where it's a widget, and if you put this in, you can, with reasonable certainty, get something out of it, measurable. And that's what we're setting out to do. So we definitely don't want to just be flashy. We don't want to just sign up people and churn and burn them, which can be kind of the stigma in software. You know, just get people in. If we're going to get people in, we want to impact their business for the better. Because if we do that, game over, right, guys?
For sure.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's a good point. You know, the shiny stuff, and I can be distracted by the shiny stuff myself. I'm definitely guilty of that. So that's a good analogy to put on that. And like Chris was saying, you know, I can think of maybe one other company that might do something like you guys do. So what's the difference? What is the difference between that company and what you guys do? What's the big, you know,
I can
difference?
certainly say that I've not seen any company that automates this. I can certainly say I've not seen anybody automate it via distributors. I think that's something really unique. We've built some really strong partnerships with distributors, soon manufacturers, and soon CRMs. And I certainly have not seen the type of combination of automation, marketing, and the like package of marketing tactics and measurement. Those three things combined. I've not seen that on the marketplace. Okay. I think what we have here is, and I'm biased, of course, because it's my product, but I think it's really special. I think it's going to be really powerful for folks that start using it this next year. I'm really optimistic about it, and that's a no bullshit pitch from your product guy. I'm not the sales guy.
You're
I can agree with
job.
that, man. I can agree with that because I've seen, like I said, we've gone to a lot of these places. I've been pitched by a lot of these guys and the companies that Todd talks about. I've been pitched by them. I've seen the details on what they do, and it's like, fortunately, at the time the times that this has happened, I've had LeadScout in the back of my mind because we have been working with you guys for a little while. So I can agree with that, and I'm not, this isn't my thing. So this is a completely unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
It works. You know what I mean? It works, and it's easy to use, and
And Joe, you're right. I guess I was thinking more along the lines of like postcards and that type of branding. But what you said, you're right. I can't think of one company that's doing what you guys have done and are going to do come 2022. It sounds like that you've gotten in at the right time, before anyone else has been able to pick up, what you guys are putting down. But like you said, it's your team. It's your team of people that you have behind you to support you and to get it out there and let people see what you guys do. And it is very special. I think that's what has attracted me to you guys more than anything is, Chris, the way and Chris is, I don't want to call you a salesperson or the salesman, but you're the guy that explains it well, and you're very patient. And to work with me, the way that you've worked with me to explain like how things work and like how available you are. Like Chris was saying earlier about, some other companies that we deal with, sometimes they're just not available. Like when we need them, it's like, Jesus Christ, we need this to work. Like we have to get this to work. But you've always seemed to have been available for me on any time that I've ever had a question, and have recommended like things that I've never thought about either. Like, dude, you're going to want to do this or try this or do that. It's like the, what was it? The drip campaign. Like what the hell is a drip campaign? Do you know what I mean? In the way that you explain it to me, I'm like, dude, that's badass, bro. And it's like, well, that's what we do here. So that it's good stuff that you guys do. And Joe, you're amazing. Your ideas and just your talent that you have. And of course, Chris, I'm not taking anything away from your talent of, you guys fit together.
You guys seem to make a great team.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to. It's
there's a empty chair next to me where a big statue of the industry sits, and that's our CTO, Matt, who's not here tonight. And we haven't done him justice on this call. He's the third pillar to this stool. We would fall right over without him supporting us.
Right on, man.
We truly wouldn't be on the show right now talking about. Well, we would, because we're just a couple poor dudes just hanging out here on a Wednesday night.
That's right.
Shooting shit. But we wouldn't be talking about leads. We would have been talking about what LeadScout would have been.
Right.
If it wasn't for Matt. So I hope you guys get to meet him soon. So
I like it. The three amigos.
Shout out to Matt.
The triangle is the strongest shape in nature, man. It's the hardest thing. The stool analogy, I liked it. Before we hop off here, though, we are kind of running out of time here. I do got to hit you guys with the $1 million question. If you guys watch the show, you guys know what the $1 million question is. So hopefully you put some thought into this. I'll start with you first, Chris. So we asked this to everyone that comes on here, and I've gotten a lot of different answers. I've gotten some good ones. I've gotten some bad ones. But the question is, as a business owner, or anyone in the workforce, what gets you out of bed every day? What motivates you to not only just suit up and show up, but to perform at a high rate to your best ability? What motivates you and drives you?
What gets me up in the morning?
For me, a problem worth solving all day, all night. I've gotten so engaged in every industry under the sun, from the most boring, convoluted sensors on the top of offshore wind farms to, nonprofits that are helping house people that can't afford it. I can get psyched up and pumped up about any problem that's worth solving. And that truly is what gets me up to solve unique problems every day.
Yep.
Yeah, great answer.
And you're damn good. You're damn good at it too, Joe.
Yes.
What about you, Chris?
So you guys know what the Enneagram is? Start with an E. Enneagram with an E. Look it up. Those watching, look up the Enneagram if you don't know what it is. So it's like the oldest personality assessment.
So it's like the DISC assessment, kind of.
Yeah, but it's like the oldest, most ancient. Of course, they're going to say most accurate, right?
Right.
So there's 9 different types of people in the world. Okay, this is and then you have you can be like kind of one person and another person, but for the most part, you're this one main person. You can get these wings. So I'm a 2, and a 2 is a helper. I'm not going to go through the whole Enneagram. You guys got to look it up. But I'm a helper. So, I mean, by definition, because I took the personality test and they're not wrong, what gets me up in the morning is being able to be available. I mean, you said it perfectly, Ty. Be available and help these contractors. Now, there's a lot of sins that come with that personality, right? There's a lot of, it's a double-edged, like anything's a double-edged sword. But for me, it's helping when I am on the phone with the contractor that's talking to me about, man, we just need to generate more leads. We're trying to do this. Like, I just salivate at the opportunity to help them solve that problem. So,
awesome.
So that's definitely what wakes me up in the morning, and why I, tirelessly try to be available. I do have a family, like Joe, so I have to be available and help them sometimes.
Right.
But from a professional standpoint, as a business owner, I just love helping y'all.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me up.
Right on.
Yeah, those are good answers, man.
Very
those
good.
are good, generic answer. Not generic. That was completely
Like a
opposite.
non-generic
Yeah,
answer. 'Cause
non-generic
a lot of times
answer.
we get a generic answer like my family.
Right.
Well, of course
Well,
we all get out of
right.
bed for our family.
Yes.
Like
No one's going to sit up here and be like, I don't really care about my family. I just come to work because I like it.
And we had one dude that was straight up honest. He was like, the money.
Yeah. He's like, I like to make money,
Yeah,
and that's
I
how
get
I
out of
figure
bed
it,
for
so.
the money.
I have a question for you too. So you never answered this. Did you get the world record last year at the turkey salute? And
Hell
did you get
yeah.
it
You
again
know
this
we
year?
did.
Hell yeah, dude.
Why do you think we're still standing there? We're the
Well,
fucking
they
champions.
review the footage. I know
Kidding me?
that, right? And then they'll get you in a technicality. I've seen it happen.
Hell
Joe's,
no.
Joe's right.
Hey,
Joe's
Bro,
right.
there is
Nothing
no
matters.
technicalities.
Listen, the only thing that matters is what's going through here right now.
Right.
Okay? We're the
right.
champion. Okay?
I'll show you a
That's all
video
matters.
right now.
I have no doubt.
We have instant replay.
Yeah, man.
But
We
yeah,
followed
man.
all the rules. We did exactly everything. Now, the issue is everything was a little wonky last year, so there was no response from anybody. So when we did what we did, it was like it fell on deaf ears. So like nobody responded to what we did. But like I said earlier, it really doesn't matter. It
No.
only what matters is what we think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
so-
there's a
World
book
record.
somewhere that you can see our name in it or not, but we definitely did it. We
Yeah.
looked it up. We definitely did it. We recorded it. We sent it off to where it needed to go.
Look,
and
I challenge anyone that's listening, try it. Do it. One up us. Do 23 turkeys. I dare you.
Go for it.
I dare you.
can
I'll
determine
do
to be
freaking
broken.
100. Next year it'll be 100. Actually, you know what? I'll do 99 just to be a shit. 99 turkeys.
he's not joking.
Don't test me. It'll be called
not joking.
99 turkey.
Ty, what are you trying to say about this this episode with LeadScout? Just
What am I trying to say?
99.
99.
99.
That's
99.
right.
Just gonna be a little shit. You're just gonna be a little shit.
Just a little shit. You know? Always one short, you know?
I tell you what, save some
Yeah.
turkey for us. We'll come visit you.
We will.
Week after Thanksgiving. Save a slice for us, unless it can go feed somebody else who needs it.
Absolutely.
Then we'll go out and buy a turkey. For
We
us.
will.
Bro, if
I
you're
was
going to be
say-
here the week after Thanksgiving, we will fry a fucking turkey up in our parking lot from when you
Absolutely.
arrive.
All right.
Yeah.
Roll out the red
I love
carpet
it.
and everything, man. Come
Do
on
it.
down.
We're coming.
Do
We're
it.
coming.
We will sit here on live and eat turkey in front of the entire audience.
Yeah. We'll do it.
Come on down.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. But yeah, so it's next week,
Mm-hmm.
next Wednesday. We're going to be down there from 1 to 6. We're actually going to be down there all day from like 7:30 a.m. till probably 7:30 p.m.
Yep.
We got a lot of people volunteering. It's going to be a great event. We're shutting the entire street down. We're hopefully going to feed 600 plus people. Anyone that wants to come down and eat, hang out. We don't really need too many more helpers. I think we got that all covered as far as get your hands dirty. But we're actually, so what I'm really excited for this year, we're actually going to be able to set tables up and sit down and eat.
Yeah.
Last year we couldn't do that. You know what I mean? It was kind of like grab and go. You
Yeah.
have to take it home to eat
Yep.
it. This year we're actually setting tables up. People can hang out. You know, get to know the community, get to know us.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is all about, man. It's a community building event.
Yeah.
You don't have to be less fortunate to come down and eat
No,
turkey.
this
You know
is
what I mean?
we're feeding the community,
Right.
and the cool thing is so this is our second annual, but this year we've had, not that people weren't volunteering last year, and but this year there is an outpour of people reaching out. I mean, banks want to donate monetarily, voluntarily. I mean, they just so we have a local credit union that wants to help out. I had someone reach out to me from a company called South Wire, which used to be New York Wire Company. Like, dude,
You want to know a fun fact about that? I put their roof on. They're over in Evansville, right?
I don't know where it is.
Southwire, yeah.
But
Brandon put a roof on there.
so they reached out, Bobcat from York. I mean, like all of these people. So I'm thinking we're gonna have to make this into a nonprofit at some point in time. And then it has struck my creativity. Like, okay, so we should hold sponsorships. You know what I mean? So for like $2,500, you'll become the gold sponsor. That'll cover the turkeys. Silver sponsor, $1,500. Bronze sponsor, $1,000 or whatever. You know what I mean? Because of the way that everyone is reaching out about this, it's I can see billboards of 21 Turkey Salute next year up and down 83 across America. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's why I was trying to provoke people, like encourage people, like do this. I dare you.
Right.
Go buy 21 deep fryers and 21 thawed turkeys. I gotta reiterate that, thawed turkeys.
Yeah,
You don't
please
want
don't stick a frozen turkey
yeah,
in
you don't want frozen turkeys, and do it. Support your community. Get
Right.
out and do it, man, because
Yeah.
there's so much. It's not as much negativity as there was last year, but this has been such a great thing. And like Chris said, this year is going to be cool. It's not curbside pickup this year. Okay, so people are going to be able to actually chill out, sit down, eat something, and just enjoy themselves. You know, it doesn't matter. Bring your family down, bring your friends down, bring your aunt, your uncle. Of course, if you're not having Thanksgiving dinner or you can't afford Thanksgiving dinner, by all means, come down. We'll fix you guys up, 5 to 10 plates to take it home to feed your family on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, that's kind of why we're doing this, but really, we really just want to bring the community together as one, and for
Right.
a community that has been so good to us, who has blessed us as much as this community has blessed us. We want to
Absolutely.
give back more so than anything.
Absolutely.
And that's the core of why we're doing this. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting us be a part of it.
Yeah,
man.
man.
Little
For
way.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. And you guys are a part of it.
Absolutely.
Whether you guys know it or not, or you're not here or whatever, you know what I mean? You guys
Yeah.
are a part of it. You guys are part of the TC Backer family.
Absolutely.
And it's the entire family that makes this
Absolutely.
thing possible. So thank you guys very much for
Yes.
your time tonight. There's a lot of things that we didn't really get to touch on. There's so much about LeadScout that we could
Yeah.
probably still talk about. Unfortunately, we got to leave something for the next time you guys come on.
That's right.
Which hopefully is not too long from now.
Right.
But yeah, make
love
sure
it.
you guys check us out. Check us out next week. And anyone out there that needs more information, if one of you guys want to rail off here how somebody can get in contact with you, any contractors or anything like that,
LeadScoutApp.com.
there you go.
Easy enough.
LeadScoutApp.com.
Yep, we'll post
do you
that in
guys,
the
do you guys
comments.
have any kind of social media tags or anything like that? Any Facebook? You guys got a Facebook page?
We do have a Facebook page. It's not worth checking out at this point.
I
But
love
if
the
you wanna-
honesty.
If you want to go there, head over to Facebook. Check us out. LeadScout app on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. Give us a little shout out, and we'll shout you back too. Maybe we'll give you a
Yeah,
special offer
tell
on
us-
one of these marketing
Oh,
packages.
I wanted to ask
Yeah,
you guys
tell-
a question. Now, we haven't had a sponsor yet for our show. We see other podcasts have sponsors and things like that. Would you guys be interested in sponsoring the Behind the Tool Belt?
can make
Let's
like-
do it,
Yeah.
Ty.
Let's do it.
We can make like a little commercial and stuff.
Yeah,
for
we'll
you,
make a
you know?
little commercial. Of course, let you guys approve it, and we'll play it throughout the show. At some
Yeah.
point, on 20 minutes into it, we'll give LeadScout a big shout out. But the only thing that we ask in return is we need paraphernalia, man, like T-shirts, hats, pencils,
Swag.
like yeah, swag.
Paraphernalia sounds bad.
Right. Well,
We need swag.
Yeah, we need some swag. Sorry,
Swag.
that
We
was
need
my
some-
old behavior starting to come out.
Some threads. The cool thing is threads, right?
Yeah.
We'll get
yeah.
you a little bit of both. We need some swag
Okay.
and some paraphernalia. How does
Yeah,
that
There you
sound?
go. Cool. All right, that's the only thing we want. So in exchange. Awesome. Well, you guys
We
have
really
been fun.
appreciate being on here. Thank
Yes.
you for
Yeah,
having
man.
us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys very much. Thank you guys very much. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have in 2022.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll all be in touch here. So
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming on. TC Backer family, make sure you guys go and support these guys. Hop on their Facebook page and like it so that maybe they'll get on there and add some content to it so it's not so terrible to go look at.
Right.
No, but anyone that has any kind of questions, reach out to the LeadScoutApp.com. If anyone wants to just reach out to us directly, we can get you guys in contact with these guys. I'm sure they have little packages they can put together to really show you what their stuff's all about. If any of this stuff interests you, if you're watching this on the replay, if you're a contractor, make sure you guys reach out to these guys.
Yeah, man.
They guys have a really good product, and honestly, we in this hour and 19 minutes, we haven't really even been able to do it justice. So make sure you guys go check them out. Make sure everyone hops on the stream next Wednesday. I'm not sure exactly what time we're going to be officially going live with the 100th episode, but we will be going live throughout the day. We're going to have our boy Wayne Scott. He is going to be live with us for a little bit. I'm sure we'll be having people pop on throughout the day, but make sure you guys check us out next week.
Man.
Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in to episode 99. And have a good rest of your week, man.
Yeah, man.
Have a good rest of your week. It's a little cold out there. I'm sure you guys are freezing up there in Michigan. It's probably really cold up there. Are you guys Wolverines fans? By chance?
Go blue.
Are you?
Go
Go
blue.
blue.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Me too.
Right on.
All right, everyone, have a good rest
Yes.
of your week. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys all next Wednesday for the
See you
21
guys.
Turkey Salute. See you guys.